Hello, everyone. I have a special report for you today. There's obviously been so much going on in the news, and I could wake up every single day, do a special report with all of the different strange things that are happening on the planet and constantly shifting our reality into this very strange, bizarre series of events. And so, well, I said the word Siri, but actually, the first thing I'd show you is Alexa. And this is something I stumbled on, and I don't know if these things are contrived, but I did find it quite interesting. I mean, it sort of sounded like something Hugh might have said, but I thought I'm going to share this with you. This is one of the different things that came up that I thought was very strange, and it's circulating around Facebook and some other social media, as well as some of the other things that I have that I want to share with you. So let's start off with this. I'm going to let you hear it.
Alexa, how long will the coronavirus last?
The virus itself may last only 2 more weeks or so, but the faction known as the Democrat Party will continue to make it last psychologically for at least 6 more months. Their motivation is to thoroughly ruin the economy and blame our great President Trump for it. They are trying to stop his inevitable re-election by any surreptitious means possible. It is well known that people who do not suffer from TDS are too smart for this hoax and will not allow it to go beyond 4 more weeks. The lazy Americans with TDS will continue to milk the government for more money and time off from work, confusing it with being their sugar daddy. We can agree that not longer than 4 to 6 weeks and America will be back online.
Okay. So that was quite interesting. And as you can see, prediction of, here is a problem and why it's happening. Yeah, I mean, there is, someone did mention this TDS, which is related to, okay, so I guess this is related to what's called the Trump derangement syndrome. And there is a really strange thing going on regarding people having this real strong hatred towards President Trump. And I'm definitely not saying that he's perfect, he's not perfect. It really has nothing to do with it. There is obviously an underlying mind control or something going on, because throughout the history of all of the presidents of the United States, never once has there been such an onslaught or aggressive reaction toward a president, nor would anyone professionally ever say some of the things that the media's been saying, especially, that whole fiasco regarding, Trump distorting what Trump said when he was referring to some alternative measures for wellness, which is blatantly mocked by these really mentally disturbed individuals that are in the media right now, and converting that into well, this must be, he's telling everyone to drink bleach or something just highly ridiculous, highly unprofessional. Not in the history of the United States have ever seen such unprofessional media, and which is obvious why there is so many alternative media outlets right now, because I think people have had it. It's almost like they've made a mockery of themselves, and we're tired of their bread and circus. I think we're tired of hearing them go on and on to get attention and say anything that's radical, even if it doesn't even make any sense, and then trying to pawn that off as news. So I don't know why I'm kind of going on a rant right now, but let's be real. What in the world has happened to the media? I mean, it's just insane. So here's this other thing. I mean, we've talked about The Simpsons before, predicting this 2020 pandemic and the murder hornets that have been unleashed, which I'm a little suspicious if they weren't created in a lab, like so many other things. A Japanese factory named the Osaka flu, come to Springfield and hit the population hard and fast, causing a pandemic-style mass infection. Well, we have a track record here with The Simpsons, and very good at predicting certain things. So here it is again. So I thought I'd share that with you. But now getting on to some other issues that were really bothering me. Here is a dairy farmer. In the United States, we appreciate people that were providing food, people that work on a farm. They work very hard. I lived in the Midwest. I lived what's called the breadbasket of the United States. And I've seen farmers, they get up early, they go to bed late. They don't get to travel much because they're relying on doing everything that they need to do to make sure things get out on time. And I know, yes, I agree that some of these very large plants are not very kind to animals, but not all of them are that way. I've seen them. Not all of them are that way. Some of them are. Those should be, just like they test and check out any type of restaurant that has health issues and are not in a clean environment. Same thing with certain factories should be checked. But that's again another topic. But the question is what are they going to do? What is happening here? They're trying to get rid of all the food sources in the United States. It's bad enough we know what happened with the toilet paper, but taking away food. Yeah, I mean that's a serious crime against humanity, and I'm just going to share this with you. I'm going to let him talk, so you can hear what he has to say.
But the comment that he ended with was, I've worked here 40 fucking years, and I have less than what I started with. And it's true, My parents work harder than anybody I know. I can't keep up with them. I'm 26 years old, and I can't keep up with my parents who are 60 years old. My mom is just go, 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 go. She just doesn't stop. She weighs freaking 90 pounds, stands like 5 feet tall and just goes like hell. Every day. And, it just isn't fair. Because people don't realize, the world doesn't revolve around money, right? We're not asking to make $1 million. We don't need to be rich. Life isn't about being rich. I've learned that a long time ago. It's not about having money. But when you literally work day in and day out, all the time, for nothing, you gain nothing. We've gained nothing. We're taking loans just to pay bills. And that's literally the current situation for a dairy farm. We got literally farmers committing suicide all the time. All the time. It's like not like a few. No, we're talking like 20 plus farmers committing suicide. Wives coming home to their husband dead in the house because they lost everything they've had, and they feel like they failed every generation before them. It isn't fair. And I don't know what to do because everything's screwed. It's not just dairy farming, crop farming's crap, pigs are crap, everything's crap. Anything farm related is completely just a waste of your time. And nobody realizes that. Nobody gets it because they just go to the grocery store and they get food and it's there. They don't realize the people that are literally losing their lives because they're working for nothing. The problem is, I love these frickin' cows more than anything else. I don't want to do anything else, And then, I'm not financially stable enough to take over a farm. And you can't take over a business that's going to fail.
This is the dilemma throughout the nation right now. I mean, not just the food industry, but even people who have small businesses, a lot of people are struggling. They don't know what they're going to do. They opened a lot of the big companies, Walmarts and some of these others, which I think is good. I mean, people need to go and buy resources and things that they need. But I think there's a level of accountability that's going on here, especially what they're telling some of these farmers to do. And why are they telling them to do this? Why are they telling people to do this? What's really going on in the industry? Potato farmers on the brink with a billion pounds of unused spuds. Is that true? Washington growers have billions of pounds of potatoes sitting around. They can't get rid of them because restaurants don't need them. Is that just because of the restaurants? What about people buying them in the stores? Why are some of the grocery stores lacking food? And what's going to happen in the future? To eliminate billion pounds of potatoes, everybody that went to a food bank would have to take 600 pounds of potatoes for every man, woman, and child. And they don't have the infrastructure to move that much. Florida farmers selling directly to consumers to avoid produce dumps. To ease the pain of lost revenue due to the steep drop in demand, farmers are now selling the crops directly to consumers. But when the demand starts going back up, they won't be here. Those that know how to grow food and albeit, some of it, they're using GMO foods, GMO seeds, which is something that we can work on, can't we? But destroy everything? I don't know. They're telling people to use natural supplements like vitamin C or turmeric is now a violation of the YouTube policy. We can't even tell each other how to get well. That's why I did those shows. That's why I did the shows regarding health and nutrition and to be mindful of these things. I talked about this briefly last weekend with Peter and the AI, the plan to invade humanity. And Peter was pretty much telling us, oh, don't worry about it. They're not going to, his satellites aren't working. But look, there's the bugs right there being created. I'm going to tell you a story. There was a native man that I knew about 10 years ago. I used to do, I did Sundance, I used to do sweat lodges. And he looked at me one day and he said, one of your people came to me. And I said, all right, what does that exactly mean, my people? He said, well, he looked like one of you, white guys. He had a suit on. He was dressed like one of the businessmen. And he approached me and I said, well, where did he approach you? And he says, well, he just showed up out of nowhere. He said, I don't know if he was at the reservation or somewhere. And I said, okay, so he just sort of showed up. He goes, yeah. And he showed me about the future. And I said, well, what did that look like to you? And he said everything was mechanical. He said even the insects. He said everything. I said, what about the grass? Everything was fake? And he said, yeah. He said it was interesting. He said it was kind of cool. But that's what he said is going to be like in our future. And I thought about that. And I also thought about my story that I tell people, that when I was 5 years old, I had a clear impression that we were being invaded by robots. And I remember the nightmare of it because of the fact that there's no soul. It's cold. That they can kill without even thinking about anything. And we're talking about some kind of paradigm society or construct that is completely run on AI or robots, and it's usually dictated. They'll they have their program, but there's also this other program that allows them to somewhat evolve and recalculate things, and then go into protection mode. In their interpretation of protection mode might mean kill mode. So I was sensing their kill mode, to be honest with you. And so for about 6 months, I was waking up from nightmares with seeing these robots. And they looked like little boxes, like, kind of a boxy type of robot that we might have seen in maybe like Lost in Space or some of the early types of sci-fi movies that I used to see in the 60s or 70s. And so I remember feeling the dread of all of it and how it all played out. And as I got older, I started getting more and more glimpses of what some of that looked like. And when I watched this video, AI, the plan to invade humanity, I said, this has already happened. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset if I tell them that. But I think that's why we're going through this stuff right now. I think this has already happened. Or at least in one of the timelines it did. And that means that Elon Musk really made a mess of things, but was hijacked before he did it. And the same thing with Bill Gates. And with a complete disregard to what humanity would go through, but very premeditated out of narcissistic ideals of creating something cool or wanting to be accepted or needing to have attention or trying to prove their intelligence or trying to prove everyone wrong at the expense of everyone being destroyed. And I'm not saying that that's what happens, that we all get destroyed, but there is a phase of this integration of AI that even though it doesn't exist quite yet on the level that he talks about, it does. And I can't explain it. It's something that I understand and know. I don't know if anyone would agree with me or not, but I have to speak my truth. And so, in a sense, that if we've already been through it, we don't have to fear it. That this experiment does not overtake us. That whatever the intention was, we're going to shut it down, delete it, and uninstall. That we choose not to be in this reality, in this timeline, and I ask that this timeline no longer exists. And I hope that you'll agree with me on that. And if you do, please set that intention. I ask that AI does not exist in all timeline, space, reality, that it can never harm humanity, that it will never make us submissive on any level, and that any type of technology will only be there to support humanity, but not to harm humanity, and never have the ability or capability to overtake humanity in any way, shape, or form. And at some point, I would like to, well, why don't I mention it right now, that we're going to shut down, delete, and uninstall any and all femtotech that might already be in our system that would attract it or would align with it or create any form of singularity. We ask that our souls be stronger and negate any and all effects of that in our body and those who are innocent and are affected as well. So we'll probably do more on that kind of thing in the future. I keep on noticing these exoplanets that nearby super Earth. Here's this other one. Well, this is from actually 2014, but there's a couple of them. Remember, we were looking at the different different planets, and some of them show up and then they disappear. But it's almost like an escape. People looking for that other Earth. I recommend we take care of the one that we have. And despite what other things that people had intentions for this planet, and to try to overtake it, or to be bitter because we're trying to get rid of these control systems and slave systems and handlers and controllers and Illuminati and Cabal and all of that, and we're asking that they're removed. And we also should ask that they don't have any power to harm us on the way out. Whatever the universe does with them, that we are protected regardless. So if they have a moment of, gee, I really want to destroy the planet before I leave just because they don't want me anymore, then we should ask that the high courts recognize who it is, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and that they have already forfeited their right for power and persuasion on this planet because they have abused it in many ways. So, let's be in agreement on that. Okay, so this last portion that I want to share with you is related to a riot that I guess is going on in Germany today, or it was yesterday. And comments that my friend said was that this happened in Dresden, Germany. People were shouting, Merkel has to go. And the demonstration was announced before there was hardly any police to see. There have been loads of demonstrations in Germany the last days, and every time the police got more aggressive and arrested several people. Not to the extent of the Yellow Vest report that we usually do, or the brutality that they have, but German people are rising up against Merkel's government. And I think this is probably, any government at this point is feeling the pressure. And, starting with France, I talked about France a while ago. I said, if this doesn't get resolved, it's going to spread. And there were protests all over the place. And then the virus hit, and then no one can protest anymore. And it never resolved the problem, and people were still struggling. And like that dairy farmer and many, many others that are at the brink of whatever they're going through, there might be people that are dying from just, well, like you said, suicide or some other reason because of the level of stress that it is on people. And we have to be strong. We have to be sensible about things. But on the other hand, we need to be informed. So always keep yourself informed. I'm just going to share with you some of the protest here. Quite a few people there. Let's see. And then I received that this, the same person sent me this as well. And look. It looks like, someone said it looks like she's already been replaced by a bad lookalike or robot. The video is, they're calling it frowning wrinkles are clearly painted on, and it looks like the teeth, some of the teeth are missing. And this right here is very strange. It could be a shadow, but it does look very pronounced. And just observe how she's talking, and something doesn't seem right. I mean, I can imagine that there's trauma and there's things going on, a lot of MK, or this is, I don't know, clone or something else is going on here. But gosh, think about the people. I always think about the people. The leaders have made their deals or whatever, but the people shouldn't suffer for that. So anyhow, here goes. I mean, it just doesn't look right, does it? I mean, I don't know if it looks like it's bleeding or what the heck is going on there. It doesn't look right. So anyhow, that's the end of my report today. Thank you for listening, and like I said, let's continue to hold the light. Let's continue to be strong and try not to be discouraged with negative information. Remember, take that information as personal power of knowledge and ask the universe to resolve these things. But don't turn away. Don't, choose to look away and not acknowledge it. I know for some people it's not a big deal that people are protesting in Germany, but that's another effect of the EU, and they have been protesting prior to the virus, but this is a different kind of protest, I feel. So we'll keep our eyes on whatever's going on, and I thank you for people that are sharing information. Have a good day, stay safe, be strong, and stay connected to the highest intention for humanity.